Good evening. Welcome to the December 18th, 2025 Maypearl ISD Board of Trustees meeting. A quorum of the board is present. The meeting has been duly called, and that notice has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551. If you'll please rise with me for the invocation. All right, Mrs. Bone, I think you have some people that are going to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance today. Is that correct? All right.
Okay, I'm going to call them up so that we know their names. We have Daisy Martinez, Maddie Coleman. Y'all come on up while I call your name. Emery Storm, Braden Patempa, Sydney Collier, Ella Hardcastle, and Brinley Russian. These are some of our fifth grade students that were excited to come up here to the board meeting and to recite the pledge. So we're going to stand in front of this. And I also have Miss Davis, their fifth grade social studies teacher.
Hey, great job.
Scoot over just a little bit so you're not in front of the podium.
All right here. Okay. Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Do we have any public comment? Okay. I think we have some recognition, one more tonight, if everyone wants to stay. Hey, class, why don't y'all come back up here? Come on, guys.
Don't leave yet. Okay, so I might have snookered Miss Davis and used this as an opportunity to get her up here. So I wanted to recognize her for all of her hard work. It was a big undertaking to, as you know, take on fifth grade into the middle school, and she has stepped in and led the show and just taken charge, and it works like a well-oiled machine because of her. She has worked with her team. She inspires her team. The kids, they all react so well to her, and she steps in and offers to help with anything and everything. I throw this at her and she just jumps on it. She also organizes her fifth grade students do a rotation of putting the flags out every day and taking them down, and they've learned how to fold the flags properly and how to handle the flags properly. So we love you.
Thank you.
Do y'all want to take a picture with Miss Davis again and give her a big hug?
Certified of recognition, the following award is given to Cynthia Davis in recognition of your outstanding dedication and contribute. Your commitment and hard work has made a significant impact. December 18th, 2025.
Thank you. All right, now picture opportunity. Let's get a pose.
Should we go right over here, right?
Oh, you want to
below
go in
the
front of
TV?
that?
Yep.
Good idea. Y'all surround her. You're in the middle.
All right, looking right here. All right. Thank you.
Any more recognition? Is that it? Okay. All right, next item, consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Norman. Any questions? All right. All those in favor? All approved.
Okay, we're going to look at the enrollment report. As of 12/9, our elementary campus has 494 students. Our middle school campus has 369 students. And our high school campus has 360 students, for a total of 1,223 students enrolled. Mr. Boone, would you like to present our finance report?
All right, I'm going to present the finance summary. So you should be able to have it up on your board book as an attachment. And as you know, TEA is currently paying us on an ADA of $11.40. We budgeted this school year at an ADA of $11.11 to be conservative. And as of right now, this is just through the second 6 weeks because the third 6 weeks ends tomorrow. So we don't have that number yet, but just through the second 6 weeks, our average is at 1138.26. On the revenue and expenditures as a month end of November, you will recall we had to do the budget amendments to bring down the budget to the levels without the Vader funding. And so with our revenue appropriation, that brought the revenue down to $15,534,915. And to date, as of November, we've realized $5,628,784, which is 36%. On the budget for expenditures, we had to bring that down to $15,582,546. And to date, we've encumbered or expended $5,221,798, or 34%. And then if you scroll down to the next page, you can look at the comparisons from this time last year and where we are this time this year. And so as of right now, as of month end of November, we're up in revenue $390,723. And then we've also expended $361,678 more than this time last year. On the CN side of things for child nutrition, their budget, as of right now, this time last year is $12,950 less than it was last year in revenue. And then on the expenditure side, they've spent $12,121 less than this time last year. Some of that has to do with some payroll. We did, through attrition, cut down one part-time staff member of his. And on the next page, this is a bond construction report. And if you look down at the bottom, you'll see the total expenditures for the project to date. We have $30,133,409. And then you can see at the top the total balance we have left, and this is all as of November. So we've done a few pay apps and different payments for some things in December that are not included in this amount. And then if you look at the bottom of that page too, just want to call attention to the arbitrage update. That's been on there the past few reports, but just to keep it fresh, we do have to hold back $722,287 for the purposes of paying back arbitrage for the interest earned on the bond funds. So just to go further on the bond status and kind of where I'm looking at some different budget items, I know we've been talking with Gallagher a lot this week and just trying to get a more realistic kind of idea of where we are with the project. And so they're helping us with getting some numbers with some of the things that we've paid for directly and kind of looking at that where it falls in the budget scope of the project and line items that they have on their sheet. And so when they kind of are able to apply that to their line item and give us a more realistic picture, I think we'll, and I've also done some of my own estimating, and just from where I'm seeing things, I have a rough estimate of 1.6 million that we have remaining in bond funds that's been earned through interest and just from the project that we still have budgeted. And so do y'all have any questions kind of like on where the bond proceeds are?
Are you saying that 1.6 is outside of the 2.2 that we have, or is that within? You're saying it's
No, I'm
1.6
saying-
instead of 2.2?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
the
what I thought you were saying.
2.2 interest that we've earned, well, so on that last page of the.
Yeah, that's the net after the arbitrage?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you take out the arbitrage, there's a lot of other kind of big ticketed items that we've paid for outside of Gallagher's provision of the bond project.
Okay.
And so like some of that would include like the $118,000 payment we had to pay Hillco to get out of the contract. And then with furniture, we budgeted $500,000 within the construction project, but total spent is about $700,000 for
Okay.
furniture items. And then we've done some technology purchases and some painting at the high school and repairs and awnings and stuff like that that just wasn't really in the original construction project budget. And so some of that has eaten into that 2 million already.
Perfect.
So.
What are we looking at, total expenditures left?
So that's kind of what I've been trying to work with Gallagher on, kind of getting more of a realistic idea of how much is left to bill for on their end. And I think with taking out a lot of the things that we've paid for that they hadn't included, like that they budgeted for, but they hadn't seen where we've made those payments, so they haven't taken it out of their budget, right? So I think we're looking at a little bit over 2 million left on the Gallagher project. And again, they're working on it with me, and we're going to talk tomorrow some more about kind of a more realistic picture of where we're at and how much is left to bill for on their end.
So Josh, can I get one more point of clarification?
Sure.
Just to make sure. It's like on the almost 5.8 million you show left on the balance, I see funds we have. Does that include that 3 million of interest in that, or that's separate?
Yeah, that
is,
includes
okay, that's
that,
what
yeah.
it looked like. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that's the case.
That's true.
Okay.
Yep.
Are they here to speak tonight on their
They
updates?
are. They're going to speak to the next item, I believe, the bond construction update. Or I guess it's the second one up after this. Any more questions on the finance report?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Just as a reminder, in regards to the Board of Trustees election coming in the spring, the first day to file for a place on the general election ballot is May 2nd. And I'm sorry, January 14th for the May 2nd election. And so that will run through January 14th through February 13th. And then at this time, do y'all have any questions about that? Right?
No, ma'am.
And then at this time, Gallagher, Mr. Blazik with Gallagher is here to give us an update, and he will be coming to do that monthly, just to kind of tell us where things are and like give you guys the opportunity to ask questions. I believe you also have in your packet a punch list. Yes, yes. That if you want to look through, that kind of gives an update of where we are with that as well.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. So it's been a while since I've been to this. There's a few new faces. So anyway, I'm Greg Blazik. I'm the Regional Vice President for Gallagher over this area. So, and this is Chris Wilson. He's my project manager that's hands-on involved in the project. Been working with Ms. Votal and everybody. Kind of big picture, the culinary area, which is the last area of construction that we're working on now. We're looking toward the end of January to hopefully be pushing to finish that. For those of you not familiar, we ran into some issues with the plumbing when we tore it out where the old kitchen was and had to get some resolutions to get that done. Some of the classrooms are painted in that area, but right now we got the concrete poured back, they're framing it, and getting all the rough end done right now in the actual culinary kitchen. So it's moving along good now, right now, once we got past some of the problems that we had, or that we found, that we encountered. We had actually had to tear part of the dock out and stuff that wasn't anticipated to repair some lines that were broken. So, she mentioned the punch list. I'm gonna let Chris talk to that because he's the hands-on taking care of it.
So for most of the punch list, I think we had 151 items. We're down to 19. With most remaining is masonry and then tile, and that's kind of scheduled in the next couple of weeks when we're during the Christmas break. So.
Just walking around, I think we see a lot of like faucet, fascia stuff that where the doors are cut out that I think have been brought to our attention. Where were we at?
Is that some of the masonry items?
Yeah, that'd be some. So when you're saying the fascia, we're at exactly.
It's like in the middle school when you're leaving the main campus into the new part of that building. If you look at the old one, it's like where they cut the door.
Yeah.
The metal trim there's gone. Is that what you're talking about, masonry there?
No, so that was just for, we cut in where an old window was for that, but we did install our panel that looks exactly the same, and that's been patched back. So
Okay.
that looks like it's existing.
And if there's something that's not on the punches that we need to address, we just need to know about it. But I mean, it was all, walked in with the architect and the design team in the school.
Sure.
So that's not to say that they missed something. So if there is, we'll just just need to know about it so we can take care of it.
Any critical or important challenges you see over between now and the end of January?
No, I don't see any. So our main issue that we ran into was the plumbing for the culinary. So what we found is it called for us to tie into the existing lines, and the elevation of those lines were too high to utilize the plumbing void system that we utilize in the new area. So we actually saw cut it back to try and lower those lines, and that's where we found that the existing grease intercept line had been broken off at a 90.
Yeah,
So
been for a while.
Yeah. So we repaired that, made repairs to the grease interceptor itself and the lift station, replaced the pump. So those were our main issues, and those have all been resolved now. So I don't foresee any critical issues.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Adam?
I think, am I on again? Yeah. I think my biggest thing is just for us to get clarity on where we are in the project, as Mr. Boone was saying, of just, what are those cost overruns? What have we eaten up of potential extra that we do have?
Well,
Just so we can make a good decision too.
No, understood. And like I said, we just started working with Mr. Boone here. He just sent me the list of items today that he's paid outside that was not part of our accounting system. And again, some of it we were talking prior, for those of you that weren't here, there was a couple of simple examples. There was a canopy over the middle school that y'all hired somebody to do. That was an alternate under our original budget, was not accepted. So some of that money has been paid wasn't part of our scope. We're gonna go through that, figure out what is, and some of the stuff like they paid the permits direct. He's gonna get it to us, and we're gonna run it through our accounting system so it can be tracked to know 100%. Prior to that list, we were still looking at, we were around $500,000 still to the good in our budget of what was originally approved through contingencies and through other miscellaneous items. Now, obviously, like if we can charge the Hill Code cost to it, we obviously didn't have 100,000 in that line item because no one expected that. But we can put it in there and see where it's at to give a, big overall budget picture. And at the end of the day, you'll get a full, reconciliation to show 100% of what's not spent.
What are y'all looking at timeline for that? Kind of that picture.
I mean, we're gonna meet with him, and then we'll get it to our accounting this next week. We can, if we get that done with him tomorrow, we'll give it to our accounting, our department, and our next pay app is coming up when?
On the 4th.
On the 4th? We can do it through that pay app, so when he gets that pay app, that'll give him the full picture.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Danielle had confirmed already that that list that I had sent, she would get it worked through and on the next pay app.
Yeah, she did, yeah, perfect. Yeah, we just have to give our Danielle the information so she can put it and run it through the accounting system, and then it's, anything y'all pay that didn't go through us is just like for accounting purposes, but it'll be charged to those budget line items to show that it's a incurred cost.
Okay. Thank y'all for the update.
But yeah, we're still, as far as what we see, we're still good, within the original. Otherwise, we'd have brought that to y'all's attention already, because, we technically can't go over.
Yeah.
So we've been watching it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, quick question. Mr. Benton, do you feel that the punch list is thorough, that we did a good job on that?
Yes, sir. We have set up a meeting weekly between Chris and I and Jason. There's other counterpart. Announcing on the list of what we're doing, but MISD is coming up with what we need to provide. It's a lot better control than what it was before.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Too, thank you. Mr. Boone, do you want to talk about the budget calendar?
So y'all should have in your folders a printed copy of the budget calendar for 26-27. It's also attached on board book if you want to look at it there. This is something we bring to y'all each December, and it's kind of just a guideline of how we're going to create the next year's budget. And this is an opportunity for y'all to kind of look over it, and if y'all have anything y'all want to tweak or see differently, we're available to make those changes, and then we can bring back a final copy in the January board meeting. And so this is just an informational item at this point, and something for y'all to kind of take a look at, and if you want anything tweaked, just let us know.
I think we have some feedback in that budget process from just the new board members is really getting better details instead of a broad picture. Is like, each division, what do they look like? Whether
Yeah.
it's instruction or materials in each line item for that department. Safety and security. What does it look like? I think that was a lot of questions from last year. Is really what it looks like for the whole district, and not just a broad picture.
So that would be more like down towards the end, like do you want that brought to you early on in the discussions, or more like in the, I guess, the presentation of like the proposed budget, those budget workshops that we do with y'all in the summer?
Yeah, the ones in the summer are pretty, I think that's what we're getting to, are pretty broad. So
Right.
yeah, if we're in April or May, and we can bring out, if y'all are working on those things,
Yeah.
then when we get down to the summer, like July, if we're approving it in July, that there's not many questions or thoughts of where is this money coming from, and are we creating gaps in other areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll typically have, like, when we've done it in the past, we've had like department budgets kind of set in that June timeframe. So like, I guess what I can mark down is in those June budget workshop meetings to come with some more detailed department-based budget line items. Is that
That's fair.
okay? Sounds good. Any other feedback, like immediately? And this is something y'all can, if you want to take this and look over it and email me specifically some more suggestions or ideas, like I said, we bring this back to y'all for approval in January, so we have time to make tweaks.
Good. Thank you,
All
Josh.
right, thanks.
Thank you.
Check payments list. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, we're going to move on to discussion action items. We have a presentation by Brandon Tunnel of Johnson Controls on some AC potential repairs.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a while since I've been in a board meeting. I used to be one of these lovely people in the back, principal. I was in education for almost 20 years. And so shout out to them because you guys got a tough job. So we appreciate you and everything that you guys do, as well as the board. Thank you all for having us here tonight. My name is Brendan Tunnel. I'm here with Johnson Controls. We were approached back in February of 25 to start looking at the needs that you all have when it comes to HVAC and controls and some other things in the buildings. And so we began that process. I appreciate Mrs. Votaw and Mr. Benton. He's been awesome, by the way, last couple months, working with him, trying to get things figured out, what the needs are at the campuses. And so I was asked to come and present what we had developed for you all. And so I'm going to kind of go through that. Please ask questions. Former teacher and coach. So, I mean, that's why I'm here, is to educate you all on the project that we've began. And so to answer any questions that you all have for me. So with that, the scope of work that we were given was with the controls upgrade. So you've already started this process through the bond at the high school. You're already going over to reliable controls. You've had a little bit, Mr. Benton, at the elementary school, but the rest of the district was in need of that. Benefits of that is once you get under one umbrella, you have better control, you're able to manage your equipment better, you're able to foresee issues that are coming up. It's just a better situation all the way around when you're looking at energy efficiency, but also comfort in the school building, because we all know the learning environment is the most important thing when you're talking about maintenance and operations. The next thing was HVAC upgrades. So as you can see there, it's really like for like. The only difference is that third bullet point, which is the HVAC redesign. There were a lot of issues happening in the middle school cafeteria with humidity and some other issues popping up there, pretty consistent throughout the year that we were told. And so we went into that. That is a redesign. So we've already done 30% engineering drawings on that and have taken care of what needs to be done in order to eliminate those issues that are being faced there in the cafeteria. And so that's really the grand scheme of things that we were given to take a look at. So if you look at the next page that says scope of work, controls upgrade. So up here on the screen, you can see, the parts of the buildings or the schools that we went and looked at for the existing controls that are still Honeywell that need to be switched over to reliable. In that chart, you can see what those numbers are at each of the buildings. And so there's been some kind of back and forth a little bit at the high school because originally in the bond, I think there was supposed to be more controls put in, and that wasn't happening currently. And so they asked us to kind of look into that a little bit. And so these numbers could change if you add back in that single story, but as you can see right now, it's just looking at the gym and the two-story part of the high school. So I kind of want to pause there because I didn't know if there would be a question with that or if everybody's good.
So there's, I guess, enough controls in the new or not?
So I can't speak to the part of the bond that's being done, but I do know that originally the thought was that all of the controls were going to be taken care of at the high school, and ultimately it was found out that that was not going to be the case, and so that's why there's some controls that need to be replaced still because they're going to be on the older system at the high
Okay,
school.
so the older part of the building?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. But the total number of controls in the new wing project is sufficient?
Yes, everything that Enviromatics is already doing on the control side of things through the bond is just fine. We were just told that there are some parts that they thought were going to be included in the bond work, but it didn't end up being included. The next page, if you look at the scope of work, the HVAC replacements, as I spoke about, there's quite a bit of units at the middle school. I'm a former middle school principal, one of my stops along my journey in education, and we all know one of the biggest tickets that you get is my room's hot, my room's cold, that we're not comfortable. So we really want to make sure that the learning environment is as conducive to learning as we can make it. And so we investigated that. There are quite a few units that are end of life. If you look at some of these images, there are some things that need to be replaced quickly. I know Mr. Benton has already told me about some units that are currently down in the district. And so there's a lot of things that we're going to be able to address if you guys decide to move forward with this project. A lot of them are, past the useful life. For those of you that don't live and breathe HVAC, you all know at your own house, if you start getting to the end of life on that unit, you're spending more and more money to keep it going. You might fill it up with refrigerant. You might do those patch jobs to kind of keep it going. And so once you get to that stage, you now have to start deciding, am I spending more money or is it more conducive and efficient with our expenditure from our M&O budget to go ahead and replace the unit? Quite a few of those there at the middle school. There's also a wing at the elementary school, LSK, and so I know, speaking with Mr. Benton here in the last month or so, I think you've had one or two units that have been going down on them, and we know that's not going to get any better when springtime and summer rolls around, and so those would be addressed in these numbers, and so that's something that him and I have made sure will be addressed. So this would get the district caught completely up on the HVAC needs across the buildings. Okay. Again, that's like for like. So that's just coming in, replacing those units with better, energy efficient units. Sometimes possibly looking at if we can downsize based off the need of that area of the building. The next one, that's that these are the locations. I do want to point out that middle picture. The thing that's circled, that's ice. And so sometimes when your units start getting damaged and your compressors and things start happening, that is not a good thing for your HVAC unit to be functioning. You can also see the damage to the one on the left, and Mr. Benton has kind of pointed this out to me a couple times. This is right by where students walk by. Former teacher and coach, like I said, we know kids sometimes will reach their hands out and kick or touch things. We can address that by putting there's a held cage that you can put around it to protect it. There's other things that we can do so that when those units are replaced, you're not seeing that damage, which is then causing the icing, and you're having even more issues just because sometimes not even the age, but how equipment's being treated sometimes. Okay. So if you see on the chart on the left, anything that is the solid orange would be the replacement. So there are quite a few units that are past end of life and have either gone down in the process of or in the next year or so, a couple years, need to be replaced. And this would catch everything up there at the middle school. Any questions there?
So are all those in the same year? Or do you have when they were installed?
They're kind of all over the place.
Okay.
So I think on one of them, it didn't say how many. I'm sure I can ask my engineers that were down here surveying it all, but a large majority of them are over the 15-year mark.
What's the difference between the square orange and then the orange with the line through it?
So some of those are like your split units, rooftop units, things like that. So they're just different kind of units. The ones that we would be replacing that need to be replaced are those solid orange. And then the kind of teal greenish boxes would be part of the cafeteria redesign. The circle with the cross through, we're not needing to replace those. Those are good. Does that answer your question, sir? Okay.
So I noticed you noted the damage to that, or the freezing up on there, but is that, so I've been, since I coach basketball here for the youth, and I'm here like after hours, I see a lot of AC units that are just stuck on. Is this a control issue that's causing that, or?
So it
Because
could
usually
be-
it's a control issue if something's running that long that it's froze.
So sometimes it's going to be controls, sometimes it's going to be the mechanical, right? And so it just depends on the unit. I mean, without me knowing what equipment you're talking about and my engineers taking a look at it, I can't speak to it. But what I'll tell you is when you get controls that match the equipment, meaning you now have that umbrella that oversees all of your controls, and Mr. Ben can sit at his computer and make sure the set points are where you want them, make sure the time, the schedules are all set. All of those things drastically can impact what you're spending in utilities and give you a better learning environment when it comes to comfort. Because you also have to look at peak load time. You know, if everybody's getting here at 7 a.m. and all of a sudden everything comes on, you could have maybe saved money by staging that out, 6, 6:30, 7, things like that. So there's a lot of benefit to having those controls to help with that. Does that answer your question?
Somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat. Yeah, I wish I could talk to you on the specific unit, but I just wouldn't know until investigating it. So the redesign, this is kind of the biggest part of this project, right? So if you kind of look at the top, that's the current situation. I do want to give Mr. Benton and his team a shout out. We had to come out and check some structural things because the new proposed unit is heavier because it's going to be able to do more things for that location. And so we wanted to make sure, and so there's some structural work that we need to look at to make sure it can support that unit. And so his team was awesome. We were, getting up and doing everything we needed to in the roof and stuff like that, making measurements. But if you can see that top part, the existing conditions with the old unit, right? That's a 15-ton heat pump. You have your limited latent cooling, limited heating capacity, just because of the type of unit it is and the age of it, right? So our proposal is going with this Aeon unit. It's a special piece of equipment that will take care of the heating and cooling issues that are happening in there with the humidity. So typically you have 2 or 3 pipes, in that system on the top, the older unit. The new one is like 6. And so it just gives you a almost double capacity to address the heating and cooling needs. It also has the hot gas reheat, which I'm going to step outside my bounds if I keep talking about that. My engineers could definitely go through it, and they have kind of with Mr. Minton a little bit. But that's going to address some of that, having to kick on, kick off, reuse some of the energy instead of creating more energy and costing yourself more. Okay. What I will say is with the 30% drawings, we've already done a good portion of that work. We do have to look at that structural part. And so we have a structural engineer that, I'm going to be honest with you all, we're waiting until you all decide if you want to move forward or not before we continue investing and having them come out and look into it. And so that is one piece that we still need to solidify because of the changes in the weight unit. Okay? Looks like you have a question.
So that would be, yeah, and probably going to go toward the end of it with the price of this too, is getting clarity on that of what assumptions have you made in your price for structural, electrical, what new things are in there that would be built into the cost you're going to give us?
Yeah, so we're accommodating for it probably already. What I'll tell you is this would be the 3rd time that we've repriced this project over the last many months. And so it's changing, and I'm going to tell you guys that right now. This unit, the Aeon unit for the middle school, is a 27-week lead time. And so my team, we do not want to impact the learning environment, right? We don't want to be in there when teachers and students are in there. And so we're already nearing the time of, if we can get this done during the summer, we're going to have to act sooner rather than later in order to get that done to be ready for the next school year. So there's a little bit of sense of urgency just because of the lead time on this type of unit. The rest of the stuff we can start getting in a whole lot sooner and be working on that throughout the summer.
I appreciate you mentioned this is the 3rd time you've read. This is the first time this board's seen this.
I understand.
So
Yes, sir.
A couple things. The humidity issue, you talk about it. What is causing the humidity?
So there's a couple things, and this is where I would have my engineers be able to speak more to it. But what we were told is they're having a tough time keeping it hot or keeping it cold, and then dealing with that humidity factor. That could be doors being left open. That could be the unit itself trying to keep up with the load, how many students are coming in and out of it, because we all know body heat and other things like that. But I would be stepping outside of my bounds, speaking specifically to the humidity part.
Sure. I mean, we're just talking about a system that's been in place for a long time, right?
Yes, sir.
And my experience in there is that with the door shut or it continuously running, if I go visit my kid, have lunch with her, is it's pretty hot in there. So is it a control issue, or is there an infrastructure problem with the intake out? I mean, how do we get from a unit that was performing okay to now it's failing? What's the root cause? Is it something wrong with the building or just the overall system and the controls not working inside of it? Can you get back with us and let us know?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know you guys have done some modification to the building. I'm not sure how much around the cafeteria has been changed, or if it has been at all since that building was put in. We all know as units get older, they become less efficient, so they're not going to be able to produce what they might have produced in the first 10, 15 years of their life. But again,
Well, in that area, they're producing quite a bit of heat when the heat's constantly running. And I don't know, I know Kurt, Mr. Benton's been out there quite a bit with, checking to see if that's on or off or it's stuck on. So
Right.
That's why we have those questions, because it seems when it's stuck cold, it's super cold in there, right?
yeah, it sounds like it's not regulating. And again, I would have to ask. I'm not the engineer
Sure.
that took a look at it. I'm more than happy to set him up and answer questions for you all. But what I'll tell you is the size and what the capacity is for that unit that's currently in there to perform is drastically less than our proposed unit, which is going to take care of those issues. Other than that, I'll have to get in touch with my engineer, because that wasn't my forte when I was
No,
a
I appreciate it. If
teacher.
we could just get that back so we can get some context into, this is a big expenditure
Right.
so.
And so, just so I can have clarity, you just want to find out how it addresses the humidity issue?
Yeah, is there something, what particular in this system is failed?
Okay.
And are there any building flaws that may contribute to it? So we don't want to put your system in to say, because this has been performing pretty well over the last, I don't know, since I've been here. So is it just the unit is failing itself, or is there some other factors that we need to mitigate on our side?
Yeah, and I'll get with Mr. Ben and ask about, controls and things like that in that area as well.
Okay, thank
So I'll
you.
double check. Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. The next page, so scope of work, the redesign, obviously I kind of spoke to that already, and so we'll kind of move on from that. So let's talk about the different scenarios. So I understand, money's always an issue. I won't get started because I know this is being recorded and live broadcast, but I will say I know we're not being funded by the state the way we should have. I can say that since I'm out of education now, and I'll shout it from the rooftops. But you all do need more funding so you can do what you need to do for kids. However, this is where we're looking at when you look at the project scenario A. This is everything that is needed, right? So this is all the mechanical work, all the units, all the controls, getting everything switched over to be underneath one umbrella, and this does that cafeteria redesign. Okay, so this is everything that was given to us that needs to be caught up, and that is an approximate number, because I'm telling you all, having already done this a couple times, and I hate to say it, but it's just reality right now. You wait 2 months, pricing is going up on units and up on equipment. It just is. And so this has already gone up some since we did our first go around, probably in March. And so we're about at the 2.4 range at that time, just under 2.5. And so it's already crawled up some in that time frame. Any questions on scenario A? So I just want to point out again that those are approximate numbers. We're not expecting it, to balloon to, 2.9, or go up a lot. But the reason why we don't have an exact price is because we have not priced out every single thing yet until we understand what the board wants to do.
Sure.
Okay. Scenario B, so what we do is we take out the controls, and this just takes care of all the units. So you're still going to be able to get those learning environments to where you want them to be, so that comfort level is there for the staff and students. But this does take out the controls out of scenario B, and that drops it down to approximately the 2.1. Okay, so this still does the cafeteria redesign. I didn't go forward on the slide. It still addresses the cafeteria design, and then it gets you those units, and then the disconnect and reconnect that need to happen at the elementary school when those new units are being done, because some of those already have the new controls, right? So they just have to be disconnected and reconnected to those new controls. So something that I do want to make sure that the board is aware of, the original plan that we were told is you were going to be looking at using bond funds or interest from the bond. I know you guys are all going through that right now and finding how much money is available there. I'll also want to make you aware, and I'm sure he's well aware, TELP is another tax-exempt lease purchase agreement, is another way a lot of school districts do HVAC work and other things like this. You've done this here recently in 2022. You guys did it for several buses. And so that is also an option, gives you a great interest rate so that you can get yourself caught up now and then pay that out over the lifetime of the term. Okay, so those are two options that a lot of school districts use for these types of projects when they're not doing, a design build or a performance contract or something else. I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of both of those. Okay. So
Can I ask a question, just for clarity on the two proposals?
Yes, sir.
So really, that other one being 2.7 is 600 grand to essentially go from the Honeywell to reliable controls and have a full like BAS that's going to run the entire
Correct,
campus.
and all the disconnects and reconnects and everything that goes along with that.
Okay.
So it's not just the controls itself, but it's the work to put the new units to the
Sure.
to the new
So that way,
controls or-
Mr. Benton can actually see them all in one interface to control everything
Correct.
ultimately. Okay.
And I'm sure he would say this, but I'm gonna say it on his behalf. Being a former administrator, when you can control your building, it's a glorious thing. Versus when I would go in and it's 105 in my office and I can't do it because I'm not allowed to log in and control my own set points. But it's even magnified when you're at the district level because there is a lot of inefficiency in buildings. And so when he can start understanding there's going to be an event here, I can gauge that. We're going to be having, summer school in this wing of the building. We don't need to run the whole building at capacity. It gives you a lot of control and does a lot of good things for your
Well, I get savings from that because, you have analytics that are run on every unit, issues we're having, and then the ability to schedule to get those peak demand charges down for us. Part of mine, and kind of walking through this, it's difficult for me of a price tag this big of seeing how this itemizes down.
Yeah.
If you're 2.1 million, how much are we getting for equipment? What are we charging for those things? What is labor? What's the, what are all those aspects so we can kind of get a gauge of that we're paying to an extent per ton? I assume all these new systems are brand new Ford design. What is it, the R454B or R32?
Yeah,
are we moving
so
away?
we went with the units that we were told, and I would have to check with my engineer what they ultimately decided on, because there was some back and forth with previous administration on what was going to be put in and the pricing on that. And so I couldn't tell you what was ultimately decided, but that's easy for me to find out for you.
Yeah, I just
on
like
what those
clarity to make
units-
sure we're forward facing in that and then
Yeah.
not caught with something that's,
Well, and something that, I've told Mr. Benton, like, we don't want to come in and put in a new system that maybe him and his team aren't certified on, right? Like, that makes no sense at all. You want your team that's going to be servicing those units and doing that, hopefully preventative maintenance, right? And addressing that to be familiar with it, because the last thing you want to do is put in a foreign piece of equipment that they have no idea how to maintain and work on. And that's the other thing. I know I said the dirty words of deferred maintenance, maybe. This gets you caught up quite a bit on any deferred maintenance that you're dealing with in the district, because those are typically things that get kicked down the road, because being on campuses before, they're not pretty. You know, they're not the new gym floor, or they're not, you know, something that's visual. You only care when your chiller goes down or your HVAC unit doesn't work, and then everybody's sweating. That's when it kind of hurts you, right? And so this kind of gets a lot of that maintenance caught up, if that makes
So are
sense.
we able to get anything more detailed on how these numbers break down? Even seeing some of those assumptions that you may have built in there for electrical. I mean, obviously making sure we're not going to get hit with a crane rental to put a rooftop unit on, like all those things
Right.
are built into it. So it just gives us clarity as we're making a decision here.
Yeah, I can reach out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And also, with construction prices always fluctuating, more going up than it is going down, unfortunately.
Yeah, in the last year, I haven't seen it go down. So,
Right, yeah, exactly. So if and when we decide to do something like this and prices go up, will it be locked in, or will we
So-
have to take that balloon?
No, so if we go into an agreement, that's what it's going to be, right? Yeah. Unless there's some, I mean, in that agreement, it'll spell out any like unforeseen circumstances or things like that. And I've sent the terms and conditions over in a template. And so your legal can look at it and make sure that it's, because this is what I like to say, that our contract is only as good as I hold you to it and you hold me to it, right? And it needs to benefit both parties and protect both of us. Yep.
Any
Good
other questions? No. Thank you for your time.
All right,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
All right, item B, computer lab purchases needed for the new CTE wing. Mr. Anderson?
All right. So, as part of our new CTE wing, which is starting to look great, we're just excited to be able to put the technology in there to serve the purpose that it is designed to do. So, two of the rooms in that CTE wing are designed to be computer labs. So we purchased computer lab tables. The Gallagher is putting in all of our Ethernet cables, and so we're prepared to be able to have the technology in there. That was not a part of any discussions previous to me, so that's why we're bringing this to you now, is so that we can actually plan for what's needing to go in those two labs. One of the things that my team and I tried to do is try to minimize costs as much as possible, because we know that computers and computer labs are incredibly expensive, and so we were trying to find a way to be as forward-thinking as possible, to not put ourselves in a position where we're buying old technology, nor to be buying something that is going to be outdated soon, but something that will be able to grow with us, but also to be as cost-efficient as possible. So the breakdown you'll see up here, what we're trying to do is to actually start moving to a more Apple environment for two purposes. Number one, they're becoming increasingly easier to manage than Windows machines, for all reasons, but also they're significantly safer in terms of cybersecurity controls. So we're always trying to look at how can we make sure to get something in that will be as safe as possible for our students and our staff. So what we were looking at is Mac Minis, just the base model, which will serve all of our purposes for doing any kind of Adobe work in one of the labs, to just, some of the credit retrieval in the other labs, all the things that we would need to do. I spoke with SHI about trying to find good monitors that would last us, but not be excessively expensive. We were able to find some monitors for about $130 that would be 27 inches, that also have an exposed VESA mount on the back, so that we can actually mount the Mac Minis onto the back of the monitor and not have them be a separate unit. And then obviously we'd need keyboard and mouse. We'd need Cat 6 cables to hook them up. We would need HDMI cables to connect the monitor to the computer units, and then of course surge protectors. So I believe the Mac Minis, with the warranty that we would get from Apple, which is pretty incredible for education purposes. They would end up being below the $800. But just like everybody's talked about tonight, and I'm sure I'm not going to be the last one to talk about with the rising costs, I just wanted to make sure that there would be a little extra in case at the new year, when we would be purchasing those, that would still be able to cover it. Any questions?
Sure. So, and this is for 2 classes for computer. What
Yes, sir.
specifically are we teaching there?
So one of the computer labs is going to be for our, Mrs. Day is going to know this better than I would. I believe it's the business and, is it?
It would be financial business, it would be what we used to call the BIM classes, and then all the way down to possibly some of our digital technology classes. And then the other classroom is really going to be more for dual credit use and for different things that they need to be able to connect to, and then also for our credit recovery kids.
So it depends on the period on that one, whether it's dual credit or credit recovery. And then, yeah, we're trying to make sure that the computer that we put in there can easily handle everything from Adobe, any part of the Adobe Creative Cloud, to business applications. All of that can be run through the Mac Mini.
So,
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
so do we not have graphic design and?
We currently do in a small lab down in the 2 floor, but this is a separate space. Again, I think a lot of it's going to be used for the business and information BIM, business information management. Okay.
Some of it will be used for the graphic, it'll just be according to the period, so it needs to be a robust enough system that we can utilize it as we need to utilize with different courses in different periods. But yes, we do have the graphic design and digital media.
I've been able to, because I used to teach that when I was in education. I used to do all that stuff, so I was able to actually outfit my entire classroom when I was teaching this. I know there's some different. I can get in contact with people that I know at the previous school that I was at, but I know you can get the iMacs for quite cheap, pretty cheap, where you don't have to worry about buying the monitor, you don't have to
Yep.
worry about buying the mouse or the keyboard. All that comes together.
Yes.
And all that. So
And I actually gathered a quote for that. That was going to be $78,000 for the 2 labs. If we just did one, obviously that would add about 15, I think, to that. So it'd be right around the 63 or 64,000 to do one lab of iMacs and one with Mac Minis.
okay.
And that was with the educational discounts that we would get by buying in groups of 5 and just the educational discounts that they provide. But we buy everything with the warranty, just because anytime we have students around, we want to make sure that it's repairable.
I'm going to ask you a 2-part question.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so I see you have like a 4-year warranty. Is that your expected life?
I would actually say for the Mac Minis, that's probably going to be more like a 5 years, potentially stretching to 6.
Sure.
With the M series chips that Apple is using right now, we're seeing actually a lot of organizations that are getting to the end of the M1s, and they're still actually, their warranties are out and they're still using them.
Gotcha. The second part question, or second part of that question is, do you think, or would it be feasible to do a lease on these?
So Apple does have a lease program, and we could do something like that. That would be paying out during the period of the 4 years. The hard part is with only ordering the 50 computers with that amount. I don't know whether that would be cost efficient to go with a lease option when it's a smaller number of computers as opposed to like outfitting a staff. When you're buying 200 computers and they're laptops and they're significantly, well, a little bit more expensive, about twice, that would definitely be behoove us to explore that option.
Okay. And then one last thing. So in our dual credit Mrs. Day, are they going to be using that for like any Navarro stuff?
Yes.
And how does that interface with like the systems or the classwork they're doing there?
I can speak to the work that the students are doing in terms of the dual credit. Most of that is going to be cloud-based, using their Canvas learning management system, as well as Office applications that can run natively on the Mac Minis.
Gotcha. Okay. Mrs. Day, do you have anything to add on that, or? Okay. Do you have more questions? When are you looking that you need to make a decision on this by?
Time is of the essence, just like everything you're probably going to hear tonight. I wish I would have been aware of this earlier, and I would have brought this to you a lot earlier. But luckily, the lead time on shipping Mac Minis is really short. I made sure when I was talking with SHI that all of those, the monitors and the keyboard, are all in stock with plenty of stock. So we wouldn't have to worry about, like, by the time we come back from break and stuff. What I would love to have is for them to be installed by the time that the wing gets open. I love when that happens.
Are
But-
we, Mrs. Wilton, are we looking to start class in February in there?
That will be our hope as long as construction is completed.
Okay. And Gallagher, is that feasible? To have kids in classrooms doing this in February 1st?
For the
In the-
CTE labs?
in the classrooms.
In the classroom portion, yes. Those classrooms, those were not part of it with the plumbing, so they're actually painting the walls right now.
Okay.
So we would just have to make sure the city would have an issue. I don't think they would if we're wrapping up the culinary in case there's any problems.
The only thing that we will need to do as soon as we get the go-ahead is to start installing network gear, which obviously that comes after all the cables are run and the racks are installed. So then we can get in there, my team, and install the network gear that we already have.
So we put up walls with no,
Oh, no. Is it
what's that?
the Ethernet cables, or those are already run?
The Ethernet's not ran yet, but we have all the boxes in the walls. Pathways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
So we have been in conversation with, like, Chris has been great, and so I talk to him way too much. So we've had lots of great conversations, and I believe that we've got a good plan for that. I didn't know whether they had run the lines itself, but yeah, we will need to get in there, obviously, with the network gear.
So is that right? Like, so without an option like this, these classrooms that we're looking at are pretty much not going to serve their purpose at the moment if we don't
That's
have.
correct.
Okay.
Or they'll be doing it with their Chromebooks?
That's, I mean,
That'd be the
yes.
space, yeah.
Yes, I mean, obviously, kids still have the Chromebooks, but it
And the
won't
Chrome-
serve the
If
purposes.
I'm correct, Mr. Anderson, the Chromebooks don't have the Adobe Suite and all of the things that.
It
the
definitely does not
capabilities.
have Adobe Creative Cloud. It can run limited Office suites because they're all web-based, but it can do some of that.
Okay.
So,
So what classes will be in there again that will need the Adobe then, if it's graphic design's not in there?
so graphic design, some of that will be using that space. Again, we're trying to buy for even next year, not just for this year, right? So we're trying to make sure that this can grow with the classes, not just that we have for this year, but how we want to structure them next year. And so we probably would only have some classes using that this year, but I believe that that would grow in years to come.
This would help us to grow the program, the CTE program. So that, just like the culinary, it's helping us to expand our culinary options with the new addition. So that is the purpose of these classrooms that he's talking about.
Mr. Boone, is this going to be coming out of bond funds or general fund? Oh, sorry.
That would be the question. I mean, like I reported earlier, we have, 1.6 roughly estimated left in bond funds. So it's really determined by where y'all want to allocate it. I mean, if not bond funds, then it would be fund balance on if it was to come out of the general budget.
I am really sorry that you have to hear about a lot of dollar signs
No, I think we
tonight.
just want to make the best decision based on our
Absolutely.
financial situation, and that's why we're asking all these questions. is,
Absolutely.
You know, where's this allocated from, or where can we do that from?
I guess, Josh, were you planning on buying these from the bond money? Was that the plan initially?
I didn't know about this side of the plan until Corey brought it up. And so he, was learning about it.
Yeah, part of it is when we have transitions that are happening in the middle of the bond, that makes it really difficult that the people that had the conversations about the spaces aren't necessarily the ones that are remaining. So as some of us that are coming through that transition, we're just trying to do the best we can of bringing you the information as timely as possible. This one's not that timely, but we still have time to make it happen.
If there's nothing else, I can entertain a motion, or we can pass.
I make a motion to approve the computer lab equipment as presented.
First by Mr. Norman. Do I have a second? Second by, hold on.
What did I say, second?
Norman, second by Mr. Ramirez. Any further discussion? All those in favor? You have to vote for it if you, yeah, I mean, that's, any opposed? Okay, all four. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Out of, I would have added bond funds at this time. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna have a financial audit report. That's exciting. I tried to pump you up, but it's just, I mean, it is what it is.
My favorite time of the year, every year.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Favorite book I was reading.
You snuck in late on me.
My favorite read.
My name's Caleb Marks. I'm with Anderson Marks and Bull. I'm here to present y'all's fiscal year ended August 31st, 2025 financial audit report. All my pages are tabbed, so if I get moving too quick, please let me know and I'll slow down for you. If you will flip over to page 2. This is the opinion section of the independent auditor's report. Y'all received an unmodified opinion. That's what you want to see. It basically means it's a clean audit. If you'll look at the second to last paragraph down there, you'll see an emphasis of matter. That's dealing with the new GASB regulation. GASB 101 deals with how you have to record compensated absences. The compensated absences created a prior period adjustment that I'll get to in just a minute. Flip over to page 11. This is the first page of the financial statements. This is the government-wide statement of net position. If you will look at the first two rows there, you'll see cash and cash equivalents and current investments. The total of those two is $13.5 million, which is a decrease of $26.4 million. The vast majority of that's continued construction throughout the year. I'll get to the splits on that when we get back to the notes. If you'll flip over one page to page 12. On page 12, if you'll look at the bottom section under general revenues, you'll see property taxes. The first two rows of that section is your total property taxes for the year, which was $7.6 million. which is up $650,000 from the prior year. If you look at the third row from the bottom, you will see where it says prior period adjustment. The prior period adjustment deals with how you have to record those compensated absences, and it reduced your net position by $600,000. Again, that's nothing that the districts happen. That's something that GASB regulations just they came out with how you have to report those compensated absences. If you'll flip over to page 16 and 17, it's a front and back. If you look on page 16 in that first column called General Fund, about 2/3 of the way down, you'll see total expenditures. Total expenditures for the general fund for the year were $15.6 million. That's up about $1.3 million, but $500,000 of that is related to capital outlay. That's not going to be capital outlay that's from the bond proceeds. That's other items that y'all have purchased. If you'll look at the section just below that, it says other financing sources. You'll see where you issued $1 million maintenance tax notes during the year. And so the prior period adjustment on the governmental funds decreased by $86,000. A lot of that has to do with how those compensated absences are accounted for. Yes, sir.
I just couldn't remember when we did the that one loan. Sorry, I was thinking.
The maintenance tax note?
Yeah, it felt like a couple months ago, and I apologize.
No, it happened, the maintenance tax note happened before August 31st. If you will look at the last two rows of that in the general fund, you will see where you have fund balances beginning as restated, 4.8, ending fund balance was 4.6. So you're down about $170,000 from the prior year. Next, we're going to get into the notes. If you will flip over to page 33. This is note F to the financial statements dealing with long-term obligations. The main piece I'm going to talk about is about the first half of that first table you're looking at. Again, you issued the $1 million of maintenance tax notes. You paid down the first, the first 7 rows, and that decreases. You paid down $596,000 worth of debt. Your ending debt balance is $41.7 million, with $1.1 million being due next year, which is now this current year. Flip over to page 60. The TEA requires you to have estimated 2 months of average cash disbursements in your fund balance in the general fund. If you look at the optimal fund balance on line 12 is $4.625 million. You have $4.647 million, which is excess of $21,000. One thing I would like to note about this is you do still have $2 million sitting in assigned fund balance that was assigned for capital projects. I believe that's been on the books for about as long as I've been working on your audit. That $2 million that's still been assigned. That the excess does not take into account that $2 million. So if you were to make that become unrestricted, that would increase that excess number. If you will flip over to page 69. I'm sorry, I think I missed a page. I'm going to go back real quick for you. If you'll go back to page 31, I'm sorry, I left off the fixed assets portion. My apologies. If you'll look at the second half of page 31, it'll be note D, capital assets. We will look at the first portion of that where it says construction in progress. You began the year with $5.9 million. You increased $24.7 million, which the construction progress ending balance is $30.6 million. As of August 31st, the majority of the projects were not completed yet, so they weren't moved to start being depreciated. If you look that next section down on capital assets being depreciated and amortized, you'll see where you had $373,000 in additions to buildings and improvements and $500,000 in equipment. I believe that $500,000 was the main piece that was in with that general fund expenditures. Total depreciation for the year was $1.5 million, which affects your government-wide statements, which were the first two that we looked at. Now back to page 69. My apologies for skipping that. The big thing that everybody's on pins and needles to hear, if you look at the bottom of page 69 where it says financial statement findings, there were none. That's always a good thing. All in all, I mean, you'll have a bunch of moving parts with handling the bond with everything else. From a operations side of thing, the district looks like it's doing fine. You have a bunch, I've heard 3 or 4 people in front of me talk about a bunch of capital expenditure items. From the operations side, once y'all get the capital outlay stuff squared away, I don't see any issues moving forward. Anytime you're dealing with multi-million-dollar capital projects, it always makes things a little hairy, but I want to thank Josh and his staff for everything they've done to provide to help us put this audit report together. We would have been here last month, but the federal government was shut down, and one of the regulations that we needed, they never got passed until after it opened back up. Do y'all have any questions for me? Y'all all take a nice nap.
It was a good audit. Very good. Way to go.
Thank you.
All right, I make a motion to adopt the 24-25 financial audit report as presented.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, Mr. Benton is going to come talk to us about some seatbelts, I think. Do you have a book? I mean, these are pretty nice from what we got here. So.
You just gotta follow up with that.
I've trimmed my PowerPoint from 150 to about 5 or 6. So
Well done, sir. Well done.
It's the best I can do tonight.
There is a copy of that in your folder, and also in board book.
Brought the wrong charger from my other laptop, so.
Uh-oh.
My laptop crashes on the board. Can I have a new one?
Just present it all at once, then we make motions.
That's our job. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you took my air conditioning money away from me. Yeah. I didn't think you'd be amazed with that.
You went first, so you might be handling rejection.
There we go.
Switch the school board.
You know what? You can't have a computer no more.
That's fine.
This is the equipment I got to deal with, IT gives me. So this evening I come to you before the SB 546. If anybody knows this, Senate bill that was passed for the mandation of all school buses have a 3-point harness in it. It's passed during the 89th Texas legislation. School board determined, so reason I'm here tonight is TEA is asking for us to report to them what we're gonna do. Can we afford to upgrade our buses? It's not due until the end of the May, but I'm trying to get it to them now, so that way if they need any more reporting from us, we can come back to them. So, our current fleet that we have now, standby buses, which are the buses you see parked against the fence, they're ready to go. If another bus goes down, we have a large troop going anywhere. So our current standby buses with no seatbelts have 7 in them. They're year 2011 through 2016. We have one route bus that has no seatbelts in it. It's a year 2016. So route buses with 3 points that are already, we ordered with them. We currently have 8, and those are the ones that are on the road every day that y'all see. And then their years 2019 through 22. And then, of course, our average life expectancy of a bus is 15 to 20 years. So we've got buses that are starting to get into their life expectancy. So with this in mind, if we've got a bus that's going to need a full seat replacement, this is the kind of money we're looking at. We're looking at $27,300 plus labor at $5,500 per bus, with a total estimated cost of $32,854. Approximately 1 week per bus. This is not including if they have to replace the whole floor in the bus. Some floors in the buses came out real thin from the factory, and so they will have to determine that'll be another $10,000 to $12,000 on top of that cost. The downside of this, and this is from Rush, Rush I've been talking to, who does our maintenance and repair on our buses. Rush and Premier Truck Group and the other large truck group, their legal teams have come out and said they're not going to do this upfit because there's too many legal issues involved. And of course, Bluebird has yet to provide any kind of how they're going to do it, what steps they can take to help us.
Did you say Rush is not going to do it?
No, sir. Rush and Premier their legal teams have both come out and said that they're not going to touch this, that it creates too many legal issues. When you start replacing floors and you start re-anchoring seats and then you get in an incident, they don't want to be liable for that. I've been told there's currently one company out there that does it. Now, mind you, we have to have full compliance by 2029. So if one company's doing this, and every school district in the state of Texas needs to be in compliance. You see where I'm going with this? This will take a while. This is the quote from Rush of what it would take for them to do it. I couldn't make it any bigger, but it basically tells us for roughly $30,000 per bus is what it would take to redo the seats in ours. And that's what I have. A couple of things I want to bring to you about this is y'all can think about this, vote on it. A brand new bus is $140,000. There are grants out there to apply for next year to replace some of our old diesel buses to go to gasoline, because we don't put enough miles and hours on our diesel buses, and they end up causing us more maintenance in the long run.
Maintenance, fuel costs higher?
Yes, sir. so I have to put this on record. Y'all vote next meeting whatever y'all decide. So we're looking at about 30,000 per bus at 7 buses, 8 buses, yes, 7 buses, $210,000. I need to know, y'all need to decide, can the district afford to upfit a bus? 2 buses a year and be in compliance by 2029. And so I can report back to the TEA. That's all that I have for you. Y'all have any questions?
No, thank you for the presentation. I think, so we're looking at, you want 7 buses or the one route bus with no seatbelt? So
We
8
have
buses?
to, if we're gonna keep all of the buses we currently have, we have to bring them up to standards. If we can if the company's willing to, if the one company's willing to do that and be in standard by 29. So y'all have to decide, can the district afford to do that? If not, then I need to report back to the TEA.
Yeah, so I would, and we'll open this up for discussion, obviously, but I would say that this unfunded mandate
Yes,
from the
sir.
state is not something that we can afford. And then, secondly, if you're saying that this is the estimate from Rush, but they're not willing to make structural repairs to a bus because they're legal, they don't want to be legally responsible,
Yes,
which
sir.
I understand they're not the manufacturer, right?
Yes, sir.
Bluebird or whoever makes the buses. So I would say that we don't even have an option at this point to
No,
make
sir.
these repairs.
No, sir, we
So,
don't.
Anybody else want to weigh in?
And Mr. Kirk, just for clarity, you report back to TEA like now, right, after this meeting, or once they make a decision?
I can report back to them in January.
Okay.
I just wanted to come to y'all for this meeting, so it's on our plate. We can make a decision. We have until the end of May, I think May 28th, to report back to them. But like I said, trying to get this in front of us now so we can have a decision made. And if TEA comes back and says, hey, you've already reported, here's extra money, or, that's basically just trying to get it in front of us now instead of waiting until the last minute.
We appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
So if we're looking at the expected life being 15 to 20 years, by 2029, pretty much all of our buses are going to be about that point. So
Yes,
we're
sir.
looking at spending 30 grand per bus, then turn around and having to buy another bus.
And here's one of the other things that, in one of the discussions I had with one of the Rush representatives was, let's say we upfitted our route bus that we currently have right now, put 40,000 in it. We get somebody to do it. We go and do it, drive it home, and we drop a motor in it, or we drop a transmission in it. Now we've got 40,000 in a bus that, it's gonna be another 20 or 30,000 that we put a new motor in, or God forbid we wreck it. Now now we've lost all that money. So it's another way to look at it.
So what kind of grants were you talking about?
TCEQ currently has a grant out there. I want to say they were offering a percentage of money that they would pay for to swap a diesel to a gas, and then we'd have to come up with the other portion of it. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers. It was a conversation I had with Bluebird salesman when he got me the price of what a new bus would cost, just so y'all would have an idea what a new one cost.
Do we think, I know we know Rush Truck Centers at this point is not going to make those repairs or installs. So the one company that is doing it, do we know, just by talking to anybody else, is it close to this estimate, or is it?
I haven't reached out to him yet. I can
Okay.
get that information and bring it back to you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Action? No? Okay. All right, what's our next thing? Closed? Thank you, sir. Great presentation. All right, it is 7:58, and we're going to go into closed session. All right, it's 9:52 PM and we are out of closed session. Hold on a second. I know. I'm down to 2 phones, so that's good. All right, so motions outside of or from closed session. Make a motion to add a $3,000 a month stipend for Mrs. Votal's additional duties as acting superintendent to be retroactive from November 1st, 2025, and continue up and until her duties are relieved by a replacement superintendent.
Second.
Good job.
I have my microphone on.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so me, Adam. All right, motion to adjourn. Or did we just adjourn or we made a motion? I think we just adjourned. That's what we do.